prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as. Look at the shields on the mark.
Oh my god, the world's gonna take
Welcome once again, folks. This is Cat's Pajamas.
And this is Pain User.
And we are moving into the winner's bracket, round number 2 here, out of the IPL Season 2, a matchup between Roxas BratOK down here at the bottom left-hand corner of Shakuras Plateau. He is our Red Terran player. His opponent in the top right-hand corner is the one and only Duckload White Raw. He is spawning as our blue BratOK player.
This is the winner's bracket. Round 2. This is our first game in the winner's bracket round 2 that we're casting for you guys, and it is the Battle of the Ukrainians. We've got BratOK and White Raw, two very accomplished players in their own right, and I have to tell this really funny story about White Raw real quick. The first time I met White Raw at BlizzCon 2010, I believe the only things he said to me, and the first thing he said to me was, "Hello, Pain User. In my country, all women are gypsy. Here you go." And he hands me a refrigerator magnet with a picture of a gypsy on it. This guy is absolutely hilarious. Like, with a straight face. Everyone's cracking up. All my friends are cracking up. I'm kind of laughing, but at the same time, I'm like, I just got this really cool refrigerator magnet
Gypsy
from White
refrigerator
Rock.
magnet.
It's straight up a gypsy with, like, a Chiquita banana fruit hat on her head. She's holding it up. I still have it. Anyways, White Raw is a very funny guy. He can say almost anything with a straight face, and that he keeps people cracking up all the time in person when he talks. And I think he gets it too. He just got a very dry sense of humor.
I think to a degree when he first came off, obviously there was the language barrier there and things like that, and people didn't quite understand him, and he was okay with it. And now I think it's part of it intentionally kind of a character, and he pulls it off so well, though. The man is hysterical.
Absolutely. You can't hand someone a gypsy refrigerator magnet and not know what you're doing. I don't care if there's a language barrier. But anyway, BratOK, definitely a dangerous player, someone who could take White Raw out, somebody who needs to be very wary of.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, you know, we have 16 players left in the winner's side of the bracket right now, and every one of these matchups is just absolutely stellar. We're talking about the very best players from the EU and North American servers, so just these kind of matches from here on out. This is the kind of caliber thing you can expect. So
yeah, and I can't wait to see some of the EU and NA players paired up against one another. I mean, the EU just having so many players getting into the IPL too. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
We were blown away by the amount of qualifiers from the European realm, and there are just so many talented players over there.
And let's take a look now. Let's get into the match. It did look like BratOK opened up with a 1-Rax fast expand. He did drop down his command center right down at the natural, shying away from the build that we've seen out of him quite a bit lately, which was that reactored first 2 racks into expand style with a little bit of a push there, a little bit of a bio push.
And I think I know why. This map is just so large, it's really difficult to be effective or, you know, exact any kind of early pressure on your opponent, and the rush distance is just too long for a 2-Rax pressure to work, and that's the beauty of that 2-Rax build. It gives you enough units early on, and we do have a Zealot coming into BratOK's main right now. He's just going to scout a little bit and get out of there. I don't know if he saw the command center. Did he get a peep at the command center? Yes, he did. So he knows that command center was dropped on the low ground. He's going to feel very safe and confident to, you know, do whatever he has to do. He can tech at this point. He is adding a second gateway, I believe. Does he? Yeah, okay. So we have 2 gates, and it looks like a third one about to follow suit, or perhaps a robo, but
yeah, looks like he just committed resources into a stalker at that point, so it'll be a little while before he saves up for it again.
That probe's itching to make something. Right?
And it hasn't yet. It's still saving up resources. Okay, actually, there we go. Second, or a third gate in total. Second being added right now. So that's up. Double gas as well. This expansion is almost finished. And BratOK has been established on this orbital command for a little while. Unfortunately, no real way for White Raw to get in there and do some damage. The Marines did take out the Zealot, but the Stalker managed to get himself a Marine kill, so both players trading a little bit there. Looks like just Marine's going to come out for the time being. Ooh, actually a Marauder, but unfortunately BratOK is supply blocked, putting up that supply depot now.
Yeah, he is supply blocked for a little bit right there. Getting quite a few Marines out. I really like that. Not committing too much to Marauders in the early game, and I know I've been over this again and again. Marines are so much better against gateway units than Marauders are. The Marauders really are used in the mid and late game for their longevity. They can eat storms. They can eat, Colossus waves of death. Things of that nature. So they do stay alive for quite a bit longer, and you're able to get a lot more out of them. Marines in the early game, just absolutely stellar units against gateways, or against gateway units like Stalkers, Sentries. They're even pretty decent against Zealots, although Zealots can tank quite a few Marine hits. And we have a very early Ghost Academy coming out of BratOK here. And, we might be able to get a Stalker here. No. White Raw reacting very quickly, and I think we're gonna see a 3 racks timing push with a few ghosts here, and what he's gonna look to do is get rid of the sentry energy and prevent that ramp from getting force fielded.
But I think that if BratOK overcommits to this a little bit too much, White Raw has a possibility of slicing this in half and doing some significant damage with his Zealots. It's really going to come down to control here. He does have the Robo Bay coming up in addition to another pylon, so we'll be switching into Colossus tech here pretty darn soon. BratOK actually still working off of just 3 racks at this time. He's invested a lot into his 3 racks timing attack like you were talking about. He has Engineering Bay coming up. He has a Ghost Academy producing multiple ghosts at this point. So a very, very aggressive 3 racks timing push coming out of him, but he doesn't really have the production to keep up with White Raw. White Raw is able to hold this off really, really effectively.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the best idea on a map like this. He's gonna have to hit such important EMPs, and there's really no guarantee that he's gonna hit those EMPs. And even if he does, keep in mind, look at the size of BratOK's infantry ball. It's not very big. We do have a Colossus on the way right now for White Raw, and that is a forward Robo, so that's going to pop out right into the fray, and he's going to have a very short window of time here where he can do some damage, but there might just be enough gateway units to take this army heads up and really not have to worry about it. And he's going to scan there on the high ground, and I don't know if he's going to commit.
Nice spread. Oh, it looks like a couple of EMPs did go down, but there are still sentries with energy. He's going to have to cut those forces in half. He actually doesn't. BratOK is able to run up there. He's doing a significant amount of damage, but this Colossus is just about to pop up, and White Raw pulling back for the time being, now moving forward with the Colossus, trying to do what damage he can. It looks like he will be able to. Unfortunately, this Colossus will not go down. It will take quite a bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough. There is a Stalker here to support that as well. Last Ghost does fade off into the distance, and White Raw is putting up his second Colossus right away.
Colossus is here. Fear the Colossus. There's absolutely nothing he could do about that. And I love the forward positioning from the Robo. Just able to pop that Colossus out. Actually switched the rally so that it popped out backwards. Didn't want it to just jump right into all those Marines and Marauders there. So very well played by White Raw right there. He will be able to hold off, and BratOK going to be a little bit delayed on his starport here. Not going to be able to build up that Viking count too quickly. And you know what?
That's kind of what I was getting at before, was that his production is just not going to be there in the case that was held off and didn't do economic damage. And now he's playing from behind in terms of his starport, like you were hinting at.
Ooh. Interestingly enough, he is going to build the first 2 medevacs. I was going to say that he might have to skip the entire medevac drop phase just because he's so far behind on his Viking count right now. He needs to do something to get that up. And the 2 options would either be to skip the medevac phase and just start building up Vikings 2 by 2, or to get a second starport with the reactor. And he hasn't done either of those things. So I feel like him really suffering in his Viking count right now is going to come to bite him hard later on in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. As White Raw through this whole process has been putting up more gateways. Looks like he has 5 there. I thought there was another one somewhere else, maybe not. So 5 gateway with a Forge and a Twilight Council coming up. So he'll be on upgrades. He'll be on very powerful units. Thermal Lance is now done. So he actually does have a pretty good attack force coming out. And oh no, BratOK is actually going to move away at just the time that White Raw may intercept this force.
Might actually be perfect though. White Raw is dilly-dallying a little bit in the middle of the map, checking both the Xel'Naga towers and now eventually backing off. So these 2 dropships might be able to find their mark, but Keep in mind there are 4 stalkers ready and waiting, and it looks like that's the exact trajectory of the medevacs. He might even lose one of these medevacs before able to get any units out, and here come the medevacs, gonna run right into the... Oh my god, what a quick reaction time.
Good reaction time. He was watching those the whole way in. He had already queued up his macro, and then he decided to watch his medevacs as they drop their way in. Looks like he is going to drop on the low ground here and try and take out these destructible rocks. Now actually going after the pylon at first. Oh wow, White Rod has to watch out, losing a stalker there, and BratOK is going to try and do as much damage as he can. Could elevator those into the main now. Coming up with his factory as well. At the bottom we have another drop coming down, and there's already way too many units here for White Rod. Oh no, this could potentially be a disaster, this drop, especially if BratOK stims these units into the third and then goes to look at this drop here at the top, which he might, and he does! Oh, a couple of units do go down.
And this is why it is so important to at least feign pressure before you start to drop. White Raw feels so comfortable because he has both Xel'Naga towers in the middle of the map. He knows there's nothing pressuring him through mid. He knows there's nothing he has to worry about through the main avenues. That has allowed him to split his forces, keep half at the main and half at his third. So he's preventing any kind of damage here. And BratOK is spending so much time microing these medevacs, trying to find holes, chinks in the armor, but there are none. And the reasoning behind that is that both Xel'Naga towers are controlled by White Raw. So White Raw knows he has nothing to worry about.
Yep, and White Raw is pulling pretty far ahead at this point. He's up in supply. Worker count suggests that he's up by 10 there. Now, of course, BratOK did just call down 6 mules, so his economy temporarily will be quite a bit lower. BratOK actually dropping himself down one more time. I'm sure he's just going to heal up and hopefully get out of there, unless he does what you were talking about before and feigns pressure at the front and then stims his units down. But there is still way too large of an army here for White Raw. He will put an immediate stop to that. Let's see here, though. Is he producing any more gateways? Yeah, he did make 2 more, so he's on 7 gate. Single robo with Twilight Council at this point. Twilight Council has research charge, so he does have a pretty devastating army about to make its way out. BratOK only has 3 Vikings, too. This could be pretty bad. And
Did I call that?
There you go. You were absolutely right. Here it comes, though. White Raw going to make his way in, and this bunker is going to fall right away. This missile turret in the middle not really going to do all that much damage to any of the Colossi. And right now, BratOK has to make his way back. At the same time, he is dropping down at the third, may be able to take that out. Looks like he will, so that Nexus is going to fall. But at the same time, White Raw is making his way in. He picked off one of those Vikings, now doing some pretty significant damage. Look how quick this bio is just being eaten up, eaten alive by these Colossi. So much terrible damage being done, and BratOK does manage to kill the third, trying to find a way to equalize this.
Though he might be able. Oh my god, that's a lot of Colossus, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. He did not have the Viking count to even kill a few of those Colossus. He needed so many more Vikings to make something happen there, and White Raw able to warp in several Zealots back at his main right now. There we go. These Vikings might be able to take out the Colossus here. This game is getting a little bit more interesting now, although the production facilities are being camped. There is virtually no way for him to reproduce his army, and White Raw just working off of those 7 gateways right now is continually warping in units. All of the Colossus are down, but the damage has been done, and these Zealots are going to be able to clean up almost all the SCVs in the main.
Yep, absolutely, and this drop has not been able to find footing once again. White Raw is prepared for that. At the same time, running across another 7 charge lots. He is continuing to eat through all of this production. These SCVs have not mined for a significant period of time. At the same time, he actually did manage to bring in a couple of Zealots here at the top left-hand corner, so BratOK is literally not mining at all. He is doing 0 mining. He is going to bring things back to the natural at this point while dropping over at the natural of White Raw, but White Raw does clean that up. The economy suggests that White Raw is still mining at a better rate temporarily, so what a crazy back-and-forth game, but I think White Raw got the better of it.
What does the harvester count suggest?
Harvester count suggests that 27 SCVs to 63 probes at this point, so White Raw definitely getting the better of that.
Yeah, White Raw has a huge advantage right now. That trade was not worthy. BratOK actually kind of came out much better than I thought he would there. Managed to drop the third and kill it. Managed to do a ton of damage with his Marines and Marauders. He got a very good surface area arc at the top of his ramp at the natural and was able to kill quite a bit more than expected. Without those Vikings, though, the Colossus just shelling away the entire time from the back unscathed and eventually cleaning up those Colossus, but I think it was just too little too late. The damage was done.
Yep, absolutely. So now White Raw is replenishing his army. He is warping in quite a few units at a time, bringing in some High Templar with this as well. Templar Archives did just finish up, and he's immediately turning those into Archons. Should turn the next 2 into 1 here in just a second as well. There it is. So Archons coming up, and BratOK really just has kind of a small token army here. He is replenishing this so slowly. He's going to try and drop again to equalize the economic damage that was done. And,
he's taking the middle
aha,
third
he
there.
is taking the 6 o'clock expansion at this point, so he'll try to drop down another base there, but at the same time, White Raw moving up with a force that I don't think BratOK can hold.
Yeah, this is going to be so tough for BratOK to hold, and White Raw not really taking his time, just going to go ahead and go for it. Stalker's leading the way. Now Zealot's leading the way. They will charge up to the bunkers immediately. We do have enough energy for force fields and Guardian Shield. Guardian Shield is down, no force fields being used, and the Colossus are ripping through everything. All the Vikings are getting taken down by these Stalkers, and there is a gigantic army in your main. What are you going to do?
Oh, yo, dog, I heard you like armies, and it looks like BratOK is forced to GG, so White Raw indeed is going to win the game. Takes game number 1 of this best of 3 set. Very well-played game as well. And I like the way that he went off after that third so well. What was that? Was the clap?
No, that was me being upset.
Oh,
your boy just took out my number 2. Dang. White Raw is such a good player. That was,
yes, he is.
His transitions that game were beautiful. He was 100% on top of the drops. There was no way any of those drops were going to do the damage that was necessary for BratOK to do. Basically, when I was talking about it earlier, I said, you know, he's either got to skip the medevac/dropping phase, or he's just got to start piling on the Vikings. And he decided to try and play out the medevac phase, but it was already at a point in the game where White Raw had so many.
Yeah, the only drop that really did any damage was when White Raw had completely moved out. And it did do damage, don't get me wrong. Yeah, but I agree with you 100%. Even just a few more Vikings in there would have made that ground army last so much longer. So there we are. White Raw takes game number 1. Guys, we're going to head into game number 2 in just a second, so don't go anywhere.